was just a country town, just a little old country town. The plant made Charleston more, because it was just a regular little old country town that with everybody knowing and doing for each other, you know.
Although World War II began in September of 1939, the United States did not officially enter the war until the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941. During the 2-year interim, the United States provided extensive ordnance equipment to aid the Allied powers. This effort prompted the construction of a smokeless powder plant in Charlestown, Indiana.
It's a pretty dramatic impact in many ways. Went from a town with a small population one year to a monster population the next. It's interesting the way the plant was built. Went from groundbreaking to production with propellant coming out of the P&E area in 9 months.
But obviously it turned it in from a very sleepy little country farming community into a boom town virtually overnight. And I think it was beneficial in some respects and somewhat detrimental in others because it just grew so fast and it was not prepared.
Charlestown was the town, besides Scottsburg, for us to go. We'd have an old Model A car or little truck. Horses was really the thing back in that time. Before all this happened now, I'm talking about in the 30s and the 40s when the war came. That was the change of everything.
The number of residents in Charlestown fluctuated wildly during the plant's operation. Census results prior to construction numbered residents at approximately 900. Some estimate that, though the actual population grew to 2,500, a more realistic count averaged about 20,000 people. This drastic increase presented a major problem with resources and created significant sanitation and transportation concerns.
I can remember coming in here, just coming in here in hordes, just any way they could get here.
Migrant workers commuted from all surrounding areas and lived wherever they could find a room with 4 walls. The development of trailer camps raised concerns over the spread of diseases such as malaria, typhoid, and the flu. When work began on the plant, Indiana Road 62 was the only way into town. The influx of thousands of workers each day reduced traffic to a snarl on a road woefully unprepared for such a load. Housing was a major concern for the little town. Prior to the plant's construction, Charlestown had approximately 235 houses and a small hotel. The extreme shortage of housing prompted transient workers to make a room out of just about anything they could find. Local sources say that no hen house, wash house, or garage was spared. Federal funding eventually provided a housing project, but its development barely dented the need. According to the 1941 articles in Survey Graphic and Nation's Business, Charlestown was chosen for the site of the plant because land was inexpensive, a ready labor force rested nearby, and the town had easy access to railroads and the Ohio River. Like many other plants in the nation, Indiana began to employ women in large numbers. The powder plant hired so many women that by 1942 the town had to expand child care facilities.
I was working in service, and I was working for the plant manager, and we were talking one day, and I was telling him about how I sure could use a job working over here because I had 8 children. And I said, I could use the extra money. And he said, well, I could give you a job, but the thing about it is, if I get me a job, I would lose my help. So I told him, I said, no. I said, if you give me a job, I'll still work for you. And he said, now that's a promise. If you're going to still continue to work for me, I'll see that you get to work. Well, he did. Oh, gosh, I guess in a few days, I was over working in there.
The first and foremost thing that came out of the plant is this plant helped dramatically to defeat both the Nazi regime and the Japanese regimes. Powder from this plant and propelling charges from this plant went to both theaters of operation, went around the world. And as I mentioned earlier, it was the largest propellant plant that's ever operated. This plant was designed to produce 24 million pounds of smokeless powder a month, and in fact always exceeded that, as high as 28 million pounds a month. So it was a phenomenal enterprise.
Munitions productions wound down with the termination of the war as Germany surrendered in May of 1945, followed by Japan on August 14, 1945. The following day, the commanding officer at the plant received a message from the field director of ammunition plants ordering the end of production. The exodus that resulted from the closing of the complex left a town withering at the same unbelievable rate at which it was born. Though productions resumed in smaller capacities during the Korean and Vietnam Wars, the plant's zenith had come and gone, leaving a small community to pick up the pieces in the shadow of the plant's skeletal remains. In the years since the plant's permanent closing, the Army has slowly cleaned the land, cleared the buildings, and prepared to return the site back over to the city. New developments have inspired hope among Charlestown residents who view the transition of the land and the opening of the new East End Bridge as opportunities to redefine the trajectory of their town.
We're making some major changes in the community right now with our zoning and our business district, and looking to redevelop the old projects which was left behind by the Army. So there's major changes that are in the process of occurring right now with the city. So yeah, it's going to be, it's already here. It's not, I've had developers almost weekly come in and talk now about the potential of what they would like to do in Charlestown.
Today, I think Charlestown is certainly poised to take a huge leap forward in many ways because of the developments that are going on here.
I think with our family parks and the activities, and we're a pretty little city, you know, and we're putting sidewalks and walking trails in, and all the things that you would want to see in your community. So I think our destiny is to become the best place to live and raise a family.
Of course, I dwell on people, and that's Charlestown.
We have just good, honest people that are down to earth, and not a lot of pretense in folks here in Charlestown, and have a lot of common sense, and just I like. I mean, I enjoy Charlestown. It's community as a community, and definitely as a people. So I really do believe that beyond my years, as it continues to be developed, that people look back 20 or 25 years from now and they'll say this has turned into the community that we hoped it would have.